and welcome to DSF May Day. My name is Chidima and I'm your host for this session. Our next session will be delivered by Artem Volgin, and the title of the talk is Data Analytics Competitions, a Guide for Success. Artem is a PhD researcher at the University of Manchester and a data scientist with experience working with behavioral and financial data in marketing, the nonprofit sector, and academia. He's also an active and passionate participant in data science competitions, regularly achieving top positions. Please join me welcome Artem.
Yeah, thank you. So today I will talk a little bit about data analytics competitions, what they are all about, why you might consider participating in them, and how you can actually win those type of competitions. Before we start, I just wanted to mention this whole work was done together with Ekaterina Milyanova, who is a PhD researcher at the University of Bristol, but unfortunately she cannot be here today. So, okay, the first question you might ask is, what are data analytics competitions? So you're probably familiar, or maybe you even participated in machine learning competitions, right? Hosted on Kaggle, where your goal is to predict some labels using supervised machine learning methods, and then your output is basically a prediction of this model that is later on evaluated based on some objective metric, and then the results are assessed by this metric as well. On the other hand, data analytics competitions look quite differently. There you have a set of substantive questions, or you might even come up with these substantive questions yourself. You might use a wide range of methods. You are not constrained to supervised machine learning algorithms. You might use unsupervised machine learning, maybe causal inference techniques, etc. Right? And as an output, usually you need to provide some kind of report, maybe a GitHub repository with your work where you explain your methodology, your analysis, and so on. Right, and evaluation of this thing is done by a set of experts who can assess your submission based on novelty, practical implementation, and so on. Right, so in the last couple of years, we participated in a lot of those competitions in a lot of different domains, from medical research to spatial analytics to sport analytics as well. Some of them were hosted by Kaggle as well. Some of them by other platforms such as Driven Data. Let me show you some examples so that you can understand what it's all about. So for instance, Big Data Derby. It was a competition about horse racing. I don't know, probably we don't have a lot of experts in horse racing in this audience, I suppose. But the task there was given by the organizers as to analyze horse racing tactics, strategies, compute path efficiency, right? And we were given a lot of GPS tracking data, and we needed to come up with some solution to answer this type of questions, right? And in our submission, we kind of extracted those different strategies using clustering methods, and then estimated the effectiveness of them using multi-level models. Some other competitions included actually using large language models. We didn't fine-tune it, unfortunately, but we're just using ChatGPT for that. So there, the general task was to explore the application of unsupervised machine learning methods for emergency department visit narratives. And basic idea was to extract some useful information from those text descriptions, right? And we were not given any labels because there were no labels in this type of competitions, right? And you can approach this type of problem in various ways, right? You might use topic modeling, you might use clustering, and so on. We used a large language model pipeline where we basically coded a sample of those narratives and then used additional model to label the whole data set. Another competition was, for instance, organized by Facebook. It was the time of the COVID-19. And there, the task was to develop a novel analytical approach to enable early detection and improve situational awareness of the outbreak. So as you can see, it's as broad as it can be. You can come up with anything you want, right? And the data that was given to us was quite a unique online survey of more than 20 million Facebook users. They asked a lot of questions about their symptoms, about the mask-wearing behavior, mental health issues, and so on. And we come up with some causal inference kind of models based on vector autoregression framework. So, okay, I guess you kind of got the main idea of such type of competitions. So, and how you can actually win those. There are a lot of different components in this, I think. So first of all, you probably don't need to do it alone, right? You probably need a couple of people at least, because otherwise it's just impossible to have all the expertise needed to successfully achieve some places there. Also, here it's really important to have a substantive expert in this domain, unlike in machine learning competitions where it's less relevant. Here, usually you need to understand the specific domain that you're working in. So statistical expert and substantive experts would be a good match here. Also, maybe you might have people who are better at visualization, some are better in writing, or you might have different statistical knowledge, because here you might use different methods in one submission. And of course, you need a lot of free time, maybe like 2-3 weeks, to participate in those things. Then, of course, the idea behind your submission. So what do organizers want to see from you? Usually, they might have some kind of broad understanding of the data. They might have some interesting data set that they want to work around, but they actually don't know what to do with that. Then you need to explain them what you need to do and provide some solutions. Sometimes they already tested different ideas, and you need just to select some of them and continue working on them. What they don't want to see from you, they don't want to see just some interesting methods that you learned yesterday and just showcasing them how good you are with stats and data science. And also, they don't want to see some obvious results, and which can be quite tricky, because this might be not obvious results for you, but for them as domain experts, they will be, right? So therefore, again, you need to invest a lot of time in understanding the domain, reading the literature, reading the blog posts, and so on. Okay, and in terms of the methods, here, again, it's mostly about inferential statistics, probably centering your whole submission around linear regression would be too easy. But again, doing something completely complicated, kind of Bayesian stuff, would be too much for people to understand and to appreciate. So probably you need to aim somewhere in the middle there. Then, okay, you select the method, you select team, then you need to move to choosing the programming language. For machine learning competition, it's an easy choice, right? You go with Python all the way down. Here, it's not that easy because, again, Python has a lot of advantages, but in R, you just have more things that can be relevant here, inferential statistics, maybe sometimes series analysis, just some niche statistical methods that can be quite useful here. And also just ggplot, I think, is a bit better for visualization. And talking about visualization, also an important part of those type of competitions, and usually people don't invest a lot of time on that, right? So there are a couple of things to consider here. Again, only important graphs in your submission. Sometimes people just go ballistic and put every distribution, every correlation that they found. Again, just clear one picture, one story type of graphs, consistent style throughout your submission. You might have some interactive visualizations there as well. And just non-trivial plots that are usually captivating for people, right? So if you're talking about some maps, time series, network pictures, usually people love this kind of stuff, and you can just convey a lot of stories with such type of graphics. And the last part, you've done with all of that, you need to write it up, right? Again, good language. Nowadays, it's easier with ChatGPT. You need to have some story throughout your submission. You need to use domain vocabulary, and again, you need to read a lot about the specific domain. You might have some references, like an academic article, right, discussing about previous work, previous articles that you found. And of course, it's useful to have some summary of your results as well. So overall, in terms of the whole writing, I would say that it's probably will be somewhere in between like rigorous academic article and like simple blog post. Okay, so let's summarize. How to win those type of competitions. So first, you need to have a great team and a lot of time. That's 90% of the success in any type of work. You need to understand what organizers really want from you, which is quite important because sometimes they don't understand it themselves. You need to use kind of reasonably complicated, not too complicated, not too simple methods. Choose R or Python for your task. Invest some time into writing your results. And of course, impress people with nice plots and nice pictures because everyone loves them. Okay, so and the final question then would be, should you participate, right? I would say yes, because again, if you participate, what you would get? Methodological experience in some particular niche field that you might have never knew about. Knowledge in some substantive area. It might be medical research, it might be sport analytics, whatever. Again, you will improve your storytelling skills. Also, again, this type of work when you try to deduce something from the company, right? It's basically like a consulting experience in a way. Again, coding practice and a nice pet project that might be useful, for instance, if you're just starting your career. In addition to that, if you actually win something there, you would get a line on your CV. Again, it's probably more important for people who are just starting, but for companies, it might be really important to have those type of lines in your resume. Of course, fame, who doesn't love to win something, and some money as well. It's always nice to have some money. Okay, that's pretty much it. Thank you.
Thank you, Artem. And we have time to take a couple of questions. Do you have any questions for Artem today? Okay.
What's the main way to find those competitions? So you mentioned some of them were in Kaggle, but then there was one on Facebook. Is it more like a one-off thing? Or is there like a...
Yeah, it's a good question. Because, on Kaggle, they oftentimes publish them. For instance, if you've seen maybe NFL competitions on Kaggle, sometimes they publish both machine learning competition and also analytical competitions simultaneously, right? Driven Data, also a platform that publish some of those competitions oftentimes. And other than that, I guess it's just a random process. Sometimes you just hear that some company organizes that. Probably Twitter is a good way to find those type of things.
Is there something interesting going on right now? Where you participate, for example?
Right now, actually, I've seen an interesting LLM competition that was just published a week ago or so. Kaggle. No, I think it's Google. Google is promoting their LLM model this way. Yeah, but it's in a collaboration with Kaggle. So there you kind of need to just create your kind of app based on their model. And you are free to do whatever you want, basically. So maybe you can also put it in this kind of type of competitions. Yeah.
You listed a couple of competitions where you placed or sort of like won them. Have you got those listed anywhere, like on a website or something? Just if we want to have a review of what you've done. For understanding, yeah.
Sorry, can you?
For the competitions where you've placed or won yourself, have you got those like submissions on a website or anything? If we want to have a review.
Yeah, I've have them on my website. I think you can Google it and find them. Yeah, I have the links, all the links there. Yeah.
Okay, one last question. Okay, thank you, Artem. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you.
You've ever wanted, and it's all that you want still.